Hey there, this is Ragnon, and this is a video on how to get your UI set up like mine. I got a new computer today, and I thought it was a really good opportunity to make a video like this because I'm having to reinstall it anyways, so may as well go ahead and turn it into a video so that I can refer people to this if you enjoy my UI. So you can see here I have no add-ons, basic Blizzard UI. I'm not running LVUI right now. I'm going to walk you through all the steps on how to do that. So first step, I'm going to go ahead and close out of the game, and I'm going to open up Google Chrome, and we need to download a couple things first. First thing we need to go to is Tuck UI, spelled like that, Tuck UI. And from here, you want to go to the downloads. You want to go ahead and grab this Tuck UI client. So this client is really nice. You can use it to easily update. Just download based on what you're running, Windows, Mac. So I downloaded it on Windows, and then from there, after you download it, you can run the client, and mine's already going to have it because I did. Actually, no, I uninstalled it. Okay, so after you open it up, you want to click LVUI, you want to click Tuck UI. So now you've got both of these already integrated. If it's not finding your name, or sorry, your name, if it's not finding your game, then you can click here on the wheel, and you can choose whether you want this on retail or classic or something like that. So you can help it find your game directory that way. So now LVUI is installed. There's a couple more things that we need. Next thing that we need is AUI. So if you go to twitch.tv/atrocity. Oh gosh, I've got light theme on. Oh, yeah, this computer is fresh. I will change that later. So here, Atrocity, he is a content creator, very high-end, world-first raider, and he curates this interface with lots of other of the top of any given class and spec, and works with them to create a beautiful UI that works out of the box well for all of them. So if you subscribe to him, I just throw my Twitch Prime sub to him every month or anytime I want to update it. And then after you do that, you'll be connected on his Discord with sub perks. If you go to the About section and find his Discord, if you go ahead and get connected there, let me find his Discord. It is right here. On the Discord, after you're subscribed, you want to go to sub perks. And here at the top, you can see Atrocity UI. So you go ahead and download that. And then down here, AUI guide, you want to follow the steps for the install guide. In the future, down the road, if there's future versions of AUI that are updated and you want to update that, then you follow the directions for update guide. But today I'm going to be going over the install guide. So I don't need to worry about backing up my current WTF folder. It's just a fresh install. But if you have add-ons and stuff that you want to keep, then the way that you do that is you go to your game directory. So I'm going to go to this PC, Windows. Mine's saved under Program Files 86. Go to World of Warcraft. I'm doing this for retail. And then under Interface, Add-ons, what you would want to do is you actually can just go back here and take this whole interface file and drag it onto your desktop or somewhere safe so that you can keep that. And that way, after you're done installing AUI, you can go into your add-ons, and if you had add-ons, you could drag them back here into this game directory from the folder on the desktop to add back in your add-ons, because installing AUI is going to completely replace everything that you've currently got. All right, so, and you also want to do that with your fonts. So here you want to drag that off as well. So just make like a new folder on your desktop, drag both fonts and interface into that to get them out of your game directory and somewhere else so that you can replace them with AUI. So once you go here and you download Atrocity UI, you can see I've got it here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that up. And I'm just going to get two different folders here. So you can see I got Atrocity here on the right, and I got my retail game directory folder over here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open this up. You can see fonts and interface. I'm actually just going to delete these from my game directory. Again, if I had stuff, I would drag them off, but this is a fresh install, so I'm not worried about it. And instead, you drag them in to replace, and it's going to take a little bit of time here. I'm going to go ahead and cut to when this is finished. Okay, and it's done now. The reason it might take a while is because if you check in interface here, you can see there's been a lot of stuff that's added, and also add-ons. He adds in a lot of the default add-ons that just about everybody needs with preset settings for many of them based on how he's got it set up. So at this point now, interface and fonts have been added in. So the next step is we're going to go ahead and open up Battle.net and go ahead and play the game. And in the game, there's a couple steps to get this going. You can see here it says I'm running a new version of the game, and I've got stuff I'm just going to load anyway. We're going to load in here. Okay, we've made it into the game, and you'll see this prompt here. Welcome to Atrocity. So this is the setup process that you'll need to do at least once, and then ideally on each of your characters, you'll need to load the AUI profile, and you'll just need to do it once. So you want to hit continue, and then hit class color to load the LVUI profile in your class's style that he's got it set up. Continue, import details. So you're just going to click through here and import the settings for all this. Method RAID tools. We're going to import OmniCD, Plater, which has a profile as well for that. Weak auras, you have to be careful with this. When you do the weak auras, it's going to remove and delete all of your weak auras. So, but the weak auras for his are very important. So after I'm done with this, I'm going to show you how you can save your existing weak auras. As soon as I've got this imported, that'll be the next thing that I show you. If you have weak auras that you already want, you can export those as strings, and I'll show you how I did that in just a moment. So I do want to go ahead and apply this, though. I don't have weak auras that I want at this moment. Warp delete, bigwigs, and finally we're done. We're going to click finish, and that will reload your UI with all the settings now in place. Also, if anything is ever screwy with AUI, what you want to do is just go ahead and type /reload, and that will usually fix everything. It will default back to how it's supposed to be. All right, so now you can see it's starting to look like my UI. I do want to show you real quick how to export your stuff. So if you type /WA to open up your weak auras, if you've got one that you like, that you want to keep, again, you can always go to Wago. So if you remember where you downloaded it, you can find it by looking in the information, and it will have it here in the URL. All of his for AUI are unlisted. The only way to get these weak auras is through getting this pack. But let's say that I did want to export something. Let's say that this is my very special Death Knight weak aura I really love. I'm going to right click on it, and you click export. And then you see this string. It's not going to be nearly this big. This is a very big pack. You Control C to copy it. And then what I've done, you can go to Wago, you can upload it on your own, but what I've done since I maintain my UI spreadsheet is over here on the spreadsheet that you can find on my Discord under the UI section, under the FAQs and stuff. You can see right here I've got my add-ons and weak auras, and I've just gone through, I've named what the weak aura is. If it had a Wago link, I went ahead and put it here. And then under the paste string, I just pasted it in here and then set it so that it has a clip text wrapping so it doesn't go off a million, it doesn't endlessly go over that direction. And then if you later, after you've installed AUI, what you would do is you'd come back here, you'd copy this. So let's say that I want to add in, I actually do want to go ahead and add these in just a moment. So I'm going to add in this masked spellcast as an example. If I click here, Control C, go back into game, and you want to go to import and Control V, and it'll say, if it's one that's already in the packet, it'll warn you. It'll say create a copy or update auras. If it's something that you've changed around and it's included in AUI, but you want it in a different way, for example, let's say that I've got my I don't know, my raid weak auras or something like that for a liquid that I liked my settings, you could update instead of creating a copy. So that's how you export and add in different weak auras. So the next step that I want to change is I don't like how, for example, I can't see my add-on or my action bars. I like to at least be able to see them so that I can set them up and change buttons and stuff like that, move them around. So for all of these settings, we're going to type /LVUI. Let me just make sure that I've got the right scene here. I don't want this all to be blurred. All right. So under action bars, you can go under player bars, and I'm going to enable bars 1, 2 should already be there, 3 3 is mouse over. I like to turn off mouse over. That's this one right here. I'd like to have some utility things like my Hearthstone and stuff over there. And then 4, 5, 6. So that is all of your basic action bars. Beyond that, if you click 7, for example, you'll see it says this is used for stances or forms and stuff. I don't mess with those. I just leave it. And so all the rest of them are all the same. And then I'm just going to double check to make sure that there's not mouse overs for any of them. We're good to go. The next bar that we want to go ahead and set up is the micro bar. So if you click here and enable, that's this bar right here that has like your character page, your group finder. I've actually unbound a lot of these buttons and I just manually click them to open them. You can see it's weird. It's overlapping with my chat right now. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to toggle anchors, and this is how we're going to move around anything that we don't want. So for toggle anchors, I'm going to reach down here and try to grab this micro bar without messing everything up. Okay, and then I like dragging it right here. If I'm on a DPS class or something like that, and something that has the action bars right here in the middle, I'll show you that. We'll set that up in a different location in just a moment. I'm setting this up with the default healer profile. So if you're setting this up on a DPS spec at the moment or a tank, then later in the video I'll have steps for fixing that. But right now we're fixing it for healers because he does have separate profiles for healers, tanks, and DPS. And then next step, bags. I actually don't like this. You might like this altogether. I don't. I like being able to see the bags and stuff. So what I do is I actually disable this and I just use the basic interface. So if you go back to LVUI, I'm going to go to bags and I'm actually just going to disable this altogether. And then let me find the next step. This is something that's just for the current raid tier. If you're not raiding Aberrus anymore, this is not important. But for Echo of Neltharion Mythic, you want to go here to BG map and disable the skin. Okay, so otherwise the weak aura for Echo of Neltharion on Mythic, the hearts locations and stuff, it will not work. So you want to make sure you disable that. Okay, next we're going to go into unit frames, and we go into group units. This is for like rating. It's everybody's names and stuff like that when you're healing. So I'm going to go to party, and I like turning on the roll icons for everything. You can leave it off. By default, it's just going to be empty boxes, but I like seeing everybody's roll. So you go to roll, and I'm going to enable that for party, for raid 1, raid 2, and raid 3. And those raid profiles are just for different sizes of raids. Also, I'm going to go here back up to general, and for raid specifically, I'm going to change the way it's sorted. You can leave it the way it is, but I find it very counterintuitive. I actually don't have groups. So for example, if we're doing a fight that says, group 1 and 3 go left, group 2 and 4 go right, I actually have to open up this raid window to check what group I'm in, because I don't have it saved by groups. Instead, I just have it all sorted alphabetically. I'm going to go ahead and reload since we made that change when we disabled the bags. Okay, so I like sorting the raid alphabetically with tanks first, healers next, and then DPS after that. So here in unit frames, I'm going to go to group units, raid 1, and scroll. If you scroll down, I'm going to check raid wide sorting. I want to group by role, and then I believe that's it. Yeah, tank, healer, and DPS. And then I'm going to do that for raid 2. Raid wide sorting, sort by role. And then raid 3, raid wide sorting, sort by or group by role. Okay, and I'm off the top of my head, I think this is correct. You might need to invert grouping order or change the sorting direction to ascending or descending if it's backwards or something like that. But that should be correct. Next, we're going to take a look at nameplates is disabled because we're using Plater. I believe that's it for now. We'll come back to this if we need to. Next is chat. I actually don't like the chat setting for LVUI, so what I do is I go here, and it looks like it already disabled somehow, but I go into settings for chat, and I just click chat defaults, and that will revert it back to standard Blizzard, which I do like. Next, over here on details, you can see there are 3 details windows. There's damage done, healing done, and then there's this little weird third one he added, but it's kind of nice. I right click on it and I change that to deaths. And that way, if somebody dies, you can quickly mouse over and see what it was that killed them. And you, typically for healing done, you only need the top 5 players or so this is just enough space. If you leave the chat on default, what I've found is there's a second chat bar over here to the right, and it's like underneath the bars, and it's weird. And some stuff is over here, some stuff is over here. So I just turn it off, and I just go back to chat defaults because I don't know how to fix it beyond that. Next, we're going to take a look at adding weak auras. So the weak auras that are included are all great, but there are some that I have in addition to this. So if you want my exact weak auras, what you can do is you can just go down the list. Anything that's not atrocity, you can just copy in this paste string. I'm not going to do every single one because that will take a long time, but I'll just, for example, go through the general and the priest ones. So we already did the mass dispel, so I'm going to go ahead and go down. Liquid anchors. I do have my own custom anchor setup. So like I said before, I want to update these auras instead of creating a copy because I've changed around the positions of the anchors because I like them in different places than where they are by default. These liquid raid weak auras, the way it works is they've got all of the weak auras in their raid set. So this is every weak aura for every fight. And then depending on what type of weak aura it is, for example, there's lists, there's like circles, there's notifications in the center and stuff. What you do is you don't move them within this weak aura because it'll mess it up. Instead, you go to anchors, open it up, and for example, let's say that I wanted to change where my lists are. I would click here, and then if I move this lists anchor somewhere else, that means every fight that has a list, it will be in that location right there. So it's nice. It changes it for every single fight. So if you have a dedicated spot where you want a type of weak aura, then you can change it with this anchors page. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that now. And we're going to add in just some more MRT reminders. This one makes it so that when there's something on the note that needs to be healed, it will remind me. And my custom settings, I have it set so that it talks to me and tells me what it is. Externals on you, this one makes it so that when you have some kind of buff on you, like Tiger's Lust or PI or something, it will pop up right here next to your character, and it'll show you what it is and what the duration is. I might actually just go through and add in all. I'll just stick with priest because you probably don't care about monk and warlock. So Targeted spells, this one's very nice. We'll just talk through what each of these weak auras are. Targeted spells makes it so that when somebody in your party is like, for example, the Pelters in Neltharin's Lair, it'll show you that a Pelter is casting on them so that you can know that they're about to take damage. That way, if they get repeated hits on them or something like that, you know that you really need to prioritize healing them up. So it's very nice, gives you an extra warning before they take damage. Raid ability timeline, what this does is it converts big wigs into this bar right here. So instead of the default timers and setup and stuff, it's a very simple setup. It's just got timers, and as they come, they go down. If they're below 5 seconds, they come down here. And then when it's going, it just pops up a little bigger. So it's a very simple setup rather than all of the bars that Bigwigs has. It overrides that. These streamer things, you probably don't need them unless you are a content creator yourself. But what this does is this is the my moving abilities that are down below my party frames. And then I also have one for my raid frames that is further down, so it's not overlapped by the raid health. And this just makes it so that you can keep your eyes central and see what abilities I'm using. I also do have a streamer interface over here that shows the names of my abilities in case you're not familiar with the icons. And I have both. It's a little redundant, but I like it. Dungeon teleport buttons. This one's pretty nice. What this one does is in your group finder on your Mythic Dungeons page, you can actually, instead of opening your spell book and stuff and finding the dungeon teleport, if you've unlocked portals, you can actually just click here and it will immediately begin casting that spell. Next is Repair Forehead. This is just a very simple, lightweight one that when you need to repair and somebody throws down a Jeeves or a auto hammer or something like that, it just pops this up saying that you need to repair and what the source that's triggering this message is. Somebody dropped a Jeeves or something. Spatial Paradox on you. This one's a nice one because if you're planning to receive Spatial Paradox, you want to make sure that you actually have it so you don't cancel your channel or something like that. And you know that you can move freely. This one was just made for me by a friend when we were doing Sarkareth progression. And it just pops up on your screen. It shows that you've got Spatial and it shows the duration on it. Pretty simple. These two right here, the Angered Neltharion Portal and Habibi bomb maps, I actually, with AUI, with this last update, you do not need to add these if you're doing Mythic Echo. Those have been included in the Weak Aura pack. So I'm going to test that tonight, and hopefully I don't mess up our raid team because I'm trusting that the ones that are in there are correct. Right here, Answered Prayers and Apotheosis with added sound. This is my modification of the Weak Aura that you can find in that spreadsheet credited above that. And it adds a sound effect so that when you are at 45 stacks of Answered Prayers, it'll play like a chant sound so that you know that you need to get ready. Buff Powered Fortitude. This one's a very lightweight one. I am bad about forgetting to buff up the group. So if somebody in your party or raid is within range and does not have fort, this will show. And that just means you need to push that button. Dibs on Power Infusion. This one's a very nice one that anytime somebody in your party uses an ability that's good with PI, it's a big cooldown or something like that, it will say Empowered, and it'll pop this up on your screen, and it will also highlight their name yellow with a border. Now, that's only in dungeons and stuff. If you're in raid, that would be crazy if it did that for every single person, so it does not do that. But if you have that person targeted and set as your focus, then it will enable that functionality with just them. And I have a focus macro set up for my power infusion, and that way when it pops up, I can just push my keybind and it immediately power infusions them and gives it to me as well. Now, this isn't always reliable for raid. For example, if you're using power infusion on a warlock or an unholy decay, sometimes they want power infusion not exactly with their cooldown. Maybe they want it on like a delay or something. It changes every patch with the class design and stuff. So if that happens to be the case, you can instead not focus target them, and it won't notify you. Instead, there's a functionality with this where when you receive a whisper that says PI me, I believe with this text right here, PI, lowercase I, then it will pop up and it'll do all the effect. It'll say empowered. It'll highlight their name. So I have classes like that that wanted at very specific timings and stuff. I have them set up a whisper macro, and that works for me. And instead, I just manually mouse over them instead of just trusting that it's going to automatically go on them with the focus target, because it won't. All right, and next, let me go back here. Next is Divine Image Tracker. I like this one because I like to know if my spells are actually benefiting or not. And I've got it set up right here above my health bar. Again, if you are importing them from my spreadsheet, it's going to also import my settings on positioning and stuff. So if you've got a 1080p screen, it should look just like mine. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't made a video like this before, but I believe it should. Next is Powered Life. I have not included the paste string because it's actually included in AUI as well. But for people that are not AUI users, I've included the link there. For Power Word Life, I have not included my paste string here because it's actually included in AUI, so you don't have to add it. But for non-AUI users, I did include the Waggle link there. Next is Rhapsody Stack Tracker, which shows how many stacks you've got is bigger, and just helps me make sure that I'm getting good usage out of that. And finally, Shadow Covenant Purple Screen. Credit to Just Discipline. He's another YouTuber. If you haven't checked his stuff out and you're a disc enjoyer, go check him out. He's awesome. This is his weak aura. When you are entering Shadow Covenant, it will show the screen, and then when it's about to run out, it will fade down. So it just helps me to make sure that I'm still in the window. So I like that. One more adjustment for Priest. That's kind of strange. For some reason, he's got it set up so that Sanctify only loads on your weak aura page right here if you've got the talent Prayer of Healing selected, even though it's not a prerequisite. So maybe that was an old thing that he hasn't changed. But so you want to go ahead and deselect, excuse me, that's there, and that way it will go ahead and load. So you can see now I've got Sanctify showing correctly on my bars. Small fix, I don't know why that's there. So now I've got all of my weak auras added. I've got the AUI weak auras added. Let me show you real quick how to set this up for like Shadow or a DPS spec. So if I switch over here to Shadow, so if I switch it over to Shadow, you can see here my microbar is gone. My bars are back to mouse over and stuff, so I need to change that. So I'm going to go to LVUI. We're going to go to Action Bars, Player Bars, and again, just check these real quick. So 3 needs to not be mouse over. And then all of these should still be disabled that are correct. So you can still see all of my icons and stuff like that for the action bars. And microbar, I want to enable that. And we need to move it again. So I'm going to move it. And it doesn't fit here, and I don't like changing the size of it. So for DPS, I actually move it over to this side right here. And lock. And now we're all set up for DPS. Let's talk about some other add-ons. So specifically for my add-ons, you can see I have more than are included in AUI. Most of these, well, not most of them, but a lot of these are not included. So I'm going to open up, I use CurseForge. And a lot of these, I don't have good ways to import them. So unfortunately, I can't really share the settings for a lot of these. But I've got it set up so that I can actually sync it. I've got it linked up with my other. Oh, I gotta add these. I'll do that after the video. But a lot of these, you just add in manually, so you install them manually. I don't know why it's not doing it the way that I'm thinking. So what I'm going to do after the video is all of these ones that are not included in AUI, I'm just going to delete them. For example, Angry Keystones, and I'm going to add it back in. And there we go. So that might be the way that I fix that. But you just manually add in your add-ons after that. Next thing I want to show you is my exorcist raid, sorry, my method raid tools cooldowns, because I do have that set up in a unique way. So by default, the cooldowns I think are like right here or something. I don't really like it. So if you open up method raid tools by typing /mrt, you might see I just did ERT because I'm old habits die hard. It used to be exorcist raid tools. The keybind still works. So we're going to go here to raid cooldowns, and I'm going to actually just reset everything. I'm just going to push reset. And then I want to change the appearance here in general setup. This changes all of the different columns. And I want to go here to templates and do this. And I'm going to turn on test mode, and I'm also going to unlock it. And you can see it's right here. I'm going to move it up, and what I like to do is I put it here on my screen. If you don't have the streamer actions right here, you could just put it like here, for example, but I put it up a little bit, so I'm going to demonstrate that. And then I'm going to go to the columns and make sure that I want 3 columns enabled. So I have 1, 2, and 3. And you can see that makes it absolutely huge. And so I'm going to make it about the width that I want. I want it like going from the edge of the screen to about my health bar. So I'm going to add in a little more width. Okay, probably not that far, actually. There's some stuff that sometimes pops up. So I'm going to put it right about there. And then you can change the amount of icons and stuff in per column or whatever, all in general setup. I'm going to leave that for now. And then for general, I want to change the amount of lines. I'm going to reduce that down. Okay, I figured out what the problem was. Sorry. Just make sure that you have use general settings for all 3 of those columns. And so I'm going to put it where I want it. And then I'm going to go here into visibility, or the general setup, and I want to have it grow upwards. That way, you know, depending on the amount of people that there are, it's just always filling up the bottom, and it's growing this way. So this part of my screen is clear, so I don't have this random floating weakor up here. It just kind of keeps it nice. I like it that way. And then now we need to change our spells. So this should be correct as far as the visibility goes. Now for the spells, I'm going to go to Major Raid, and I want to turn on most of these. What I like to do is I like to turn on just about all of the cooldowns that might be in like a healing note. So Aura Mastery would be, Avenging Wrath would not be, most likely. I don't care about when Paladins are popping their wings every single time. Him, yes. Barrier, yes. Vamp, no. Salvation, yes. AMZ, Healing Tide, Spirit Link. I don't really care about APT. If I do, then I might turn it on, but most of the time I don't. Revival, Restoral, Tranquility, and Darkness. So that's the majority of our healing cooldowns. There are more. We're not done yet. I'm going to go into only enabled real quick, and I'm going to turn off some of the ones that I don't care about. Actually, they're all good. Now, what I like to do is I'm going to go by class. And so, actually first, sorry, real quick, raid movement. We want to turn on Windrush. I don't care about Tiger's Lust. I just want the raid-wide ones. So all those right there. Now, down here, I'm going to go by class. In Warrior, the only cooldown I care about is Rallying Cry. For Paladin, I care about Protection and Sacrifice, because I might be calling for those or something like that. And then Aura Mastery. And just double checking, I believe that is it. For Hunter, I don't care about anything. They don't do anything that I need to track. Same thing for Rogue. For Priest, we want the big raid cooldowns again. So we got Pain Suppression, Barrier. I do want to track Rapture and Evangelism to know when my co-healers are using their stuff. And then for Holy, I care about Divine Hymn, GS, Symbol of Hope, Apotheosis nobody's ever going to be using that in raid unless we get like another Sun King Salvation fight. But I'll put it there anyways, and then Salve. For Shadow, there's not really much other than I do want to track. I forgot to put this Mass Dispel because there are fights where you're going to be rotating between, a Mass Dispel rotation or something like that. So I'd like to have that tracked as well. For Death Knight, I want AMZ, and that's it. For Shaman, there's actually a few things. I want to track Windrush. Maybe there's not as much as I thought. You could, well, no. And then under Resto, I want to track maybe Manatide. You don't have to. Spirit Link, yes. I do want to track Ascendance. I don't know why it doesn't track that by default. That's definitely a cooldown. And then that's about it. All those are other short cooldowns and stuff. For Maids, there's not really much that they bring that I want to track. Same thing for Warlock. I don't care. Monk. Okay, so for Monk, the ones that I do want to track are you could add Tiger's Lust if you want. I don't really find that important unless it's, I don't know, unless you're the one that's receiving it for some mechanic on a fight. Here under Mistweaver, I don't know why these aren't selected by default either. Yulon and Chi-Ji are definitely cooldowns that you want to track. And then make sure that you have both versions of Revival. And then here under Druid, we're going to go to, I want Movement. And then under Resto, we want to make sure that we have Trank and Ironbark. Incarn, I want to track as well. Flourish, I do want to track. Those are all cooldowns that might be on a healing note. Although Flourish, I don't know if that'll be one that we track now that it's going down to a 1 minute cooldown next patch. So we'll see if that's even impactful enough to track, or if it just becomes kind of like a, Earthen Ward Totem or something. Darkness, you'll want to track for Demon Hunter, and that's about it. And then for Evoker, there's a couple things. I want to check under Prez, we want Rewind. That's a cooldown. Emerald Communion, Dream Breath, and Stasis. For Og, I do want to track Spatial Paradox, and that's about it. Now, it's all, you can see here under Only Enabled, here's all the spells that we've got. But it's kind of a mess. You can see here the columns, I'm going to sort it based on what type of spell it is. And the mental categorization that I kind of have is I care about this section more. So under 3, I'm going to put all of the big raid cooldowns. Anything that might be on a healing note, I put over here. In the middle, I have externals, like, PI, Bark Skin, Sack, Bop, spell warding. Oh, I forgot to put in spell warding for Paladin. Let me add that. I knew I was forgetting at least one. So under protection, spell warding. Okay. And so the middle is kind of, externals and utility and stuff. And then over here on the left is movement cooldowns, things like Stampeding Roar, Spatial Paradox, stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and sort this real quick. This is 2, 3, external, that's an external, that's an external, that's a raid cooldown, that's an external. That I like keeping this over separate in movement, actually. Utility that I don't want to get mixed up with all the externals in the middle that apply to me, I put over to the left. Pain Sup is an external. Barrier is a raid cooldown. Rapture is a raid cooldown. Symbol I put as a raid cooldown. Apotheosis, raid cooldown. Evangelism and Salve are both raid cooldowns. AMZ, so even though this is on a note, I don't necessarily care about it as much. The reason that I put these in 3 is because it's visibly closer to the center of my screen, and what I can do is I can check and say, okay, has Gala used, is she ramping? Has she used Rapture? Yes, she's used Rapture. I shouldn't use my cooldowns or something like that. I just quickly check to see who's doing what, and I want that to be the most visible, so I don't want to clog it up with other stuff. So I put Rally and AMZ and stuff in the center column, number 2. Mana Tide, same deal. I don't really necessarily care about that, so I'm either going to put it in 1, because I don't want to visually get it mixed up with Healing Tide. They look so similar. Same thing with Windrush. I might actually even just disable Mana Tide, because they're just going to pop it when I pop it, and the only thing I might pay attention to is like that I need to maybe stand a little closer since it's a shorter range, but I'm actually going to just turn that off. I probably won't ever even pay attention to that. Spirit Link is a raid cooldown. Ascendance is a raid cooldown. Windrush is movement, so I put it in 1. Yulon is a raid cooldown. Life Cocoon's an external. Raid cooldown, raid cooldown, raid cooldown. Iron Bark is an external. Stampeding Roar is a movement. Trank is raid cooldown. Flourish, cooldown, cooldown. Darkness, I want to put that in 2 with all my DR stuff. Time Spiral is movement. Zephyr is... I'm gonna count that as a movement. Rewind. So the column 1 is for movement. It's also for things that I might care about looking at, but mostly I keep it up on my screen just for like looking at replays and stuff, so I can go back and check and say, man, I didn't get spatial paradox there. Did so and so actually have it up? And I can go back and check. So a lot of this is not necessarily for in the moment, other than column 3. It's just for reviewing my my VODs and stuff. So Rewind is 3. Communion is 3. Dreamflight is 3. Time Die is an external, so 2. Stasis is 3. And Spatial Paradox I put in 1. So now you can see I'm going to turn off test mode. I'm going to go ahead and lock it. And you can do show outside of raid. So you can see right now it's got all of my abilities right there. And I just leave that up. For the action abilities that you have here, you can type /streamer. And this is through details, actually. I'm going to enable the plugin, and I'm going to load... well, my profile has not been saved, so I'm just going to go ahead and make it real quick. So what I do is I just resize it. I put it right about there. And I want to be able to have enough room for, I don't know, maybe like 5 abilities or so. So I'm just going to cast Flash Heal or something a bunch. I guess it's more than 5. That's probably enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it so that it matches the height of that. And then drag it down. Put it right there so it's beautiful. And then I'll lock it. And then now I'll fix my cooldowns window to match. So I'm going to drag that down here and just kind of make them look nice. Now I have this ugly little area right here. I haven't decided what to do with that. I could, I guess, just drag my streamer thing to be all the way across, but I don't know. I feel like that's a nice space that I could put something, and I haven't decided what to put there. So for now, it sits. And at this point, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that needs to be updated. I probably will think of this after. I'll probably think of something right after I post the video. But for the great majority of things, it's already set up and ready to go. So I hope this was helpful for you. Again, if I have things that I think of after I post the video, I'll put it in the comments. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. I'm not a pro at this. This is just kind of what I've found works for me, and using AUI has been a good benefit to me. It's been very nice. I like it a lot, and I also like that you can use it on multiple characters, and it's set up in a similar way. Oh, real quick, I do want to go over two more things. I want to show you the general layout on the logic of AUI, and then also how to set this up on a brand new character now that you've got this installed. So first of all, the logic, your weak auras are here in the center. If you don't like the way that this is laid out, you can actually type /WA, and you can change the order of how things are set up. So for example, on Priest, I'm going to go here to Priest and change my primary bar. And let me find something I don't like. I want life. Let's see here. I want, let's say that I want Guardian Spirit on this side of Power Infusion. I care about seeing it more. I want it more towards the middle of my screen. So what I do is go to /WA, go to primary bar, and you can see I want to find Holy Priest Power Infusion, which is right here, disk/Holy Priest, and you can see it's on this top side of Guardian Spirit. So what I can do is I can either push this down arrow, or I could actually click and drag it and move it. And now, if you see when I close this, they've swapped positions. So you can use that to reorder your bar. You can actually also use it to drag things from one bar to the next. So for example, my Imperial Blaze, I want to drag that to be on the top bar maybe. If I wanted to do that, oops, wrong /WA, I want to take Imperial Blaze, I'm going to click it, and I'm going to, let me remember where the other ones are. I believe it's on primary bar 2. Yeah, it's primary bar 2 healer. That shows the secondary bar above where it has all your damage stuff that you might want to track. So I'm going to take primary bar 1. I'm going to find Imperial Blaze, and I'm going to go to primary bar 2 right here, and maybe I want this right next to Holy Fire. Okay, so now when I close out, it's been messed up. So that's obviously not it. So I'll find something else instead. Let's see here, secondary bar. That's not it. Maybe it is it. So I'm going to go here to primary bar 2 healer. I'm going to right click on, sorry, I'm going to drag it in here, and I'm going to copy settings, and I'm going to copy display. Okay, and I'm going to drag it right next to Holy Fire. Nope, that messed it up. All right, I'm going to have to play with that. Copy settings. I don't know, everything. Oh dear. Okay. For now, I'm just going to drag that out. And we'll put that where it was, next to, I don't know, Guardian Apotheosis. So there you go. No harm done. I will have to figure out how to move it. I am forgetting how to do that. Down here below your health bar, you've got your combat potion, you've got your health potion, and then he has also added whether your Spore Cloak is procced or not. Above it, you've got your defensives, so Fade and Desperate Prayer are there. Certain abilities are actually hidden until they're used. So for example, if I use my Psychic Scream, you can see now it's appeared with its cooldown. So some abilities by default are hidden until they're used. That way it saves space and stuff. And then when you use them, it will show. Over here on the right, you've got movement things. For some reason, he's got dispels over here as well. So some utility thing is over here. And so if you have a kick, sometimes that is also over here as well. Priest obviously does not, sadly. But your dispel is over here. Your angelic feather charges, your cooldown on life grip, and so on. So that is how the weak auras are set up. I like how it has the combat stuff above separated. It's nice. And then let me show you real quick another character. So if let's say that I wanted to set up my shaman. I've been playing my shaman a good bit. Side note, it looks like shaman is going to be my secondary character. I'm going to be working on 2 characters at the same time going into next season. And shaman, Resto Shaman is the second one I want to have ready so that we have some good options for our raid roster. So to set this up, you'll see that when I come in, my screen is just going to be all kinds of messed up. And the AUI load thing is going to be up here in the center. So instead of installing, you don't have to do everything again. We just need to load it. So once it loads in, you can see here, I'm going to go to continue. Also, if you ever, like, oops, I pushed skip. What do I do? The window's gone and my stuff is all messed up. How do I fix that? The way that you do that, or if you ever mess something up, like let's say that Imperial Blaze weak aura that I was doing, if I really mess something up, you can actually fix all your settings very easily. That's one of the reasons I like AUI, is it's very simple to do that. So you go to /AUI load, so space load, and that pulls up this window again. So I'm going to push class color to change it to the shaman settings. I want to load details, MRT, Omni CD, Plater, blah, blah, blah. Weak auras, this button's going to be gone because I've already done weak auras. I don't want to start that all over again because that will delete all of my custom weak auras that I've taken the time to put in and all the changes I've made. So instead it says if you want to do that, then what you can do is you can do AUI install instead. So unfortunately, if your weak auras get messed up, like let's say I played with it too much, I messed it up beyond reason, and unfortunately I cannot fix it. My bars are all messed up. What I can do is instead I can, just like I showed at the beginning, you can export your weak auras, your custom ones, to strings, and then you install weak auras with AUI, and then you re-add all of your stuff later. It's a pain. I actually had to do it like 3 or 4 times yesterday when I was fixing my laptop and updating my my AUI. But so with some practice, it's not too bad, but it is a bit of a pain. It just takes some upfront work setting everything up with your export strings and stuff like I did with my spreadsheet. But once you've got it, you've got it. Warp delete, bigwigs, and finish. And now at this point, you can see it's beautiful. It's set up, it looks very similar to how it did on my priest. It's just now got shaman stuff. So some things will carry over. So for example, all of my settings with my action bars and stuff saved. If for some reason they did not, then what you could do is just walk through the same steps that I did with typing /ERT and going in and, /LVUI and like disabling the bags and, you know, fixing the uniframe stuff. So if anything gets messed up, you just use those settings that we went over in the priest section to fix that. I believe that is now it. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. I'm happy to answer any questions. Hit me up in the comments and enjoy AUI. Thank you so much. Have a good one.